Hello, it's 2019 now, which means I've been doing this for a year-ish. Been predicting the Rotten Tomatoes scores for all of 2018, and now we're doing 2019. So that's kind of cool. If you've not watched one of these videos before, basically I'm gonna take a look at the movies coming out in the next 3 months. I'm gonna look at the director's other movies, previous ones in the series and whatever, and try and guess what the Rotten Tomatoes score is going to be. Save you the hassle of waiting. Find out right now which movies are going to be worth seeing. Just because I said so. Some idiot on the internet. So I'm going to do January, February, March, and I'm going to do a few from the start of April as well, because I know that I'm going to leave it too late and I'm going to miss out on doing them. So I've picked some ones that I'm interested in from the very start of April, and they're going to be on this one, before I forget to do it again. So let's start with January the 18th. We've got Glass coming out. The new M. Night Shyamalan movie, sequel to Unbreakable and Split. He's back on form. He had a horrible 20 years-ish, but he's back making okay movies again. A lot of people liked Split. It got 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Not seen it myself. And Unbreakable, the other one that is like connected to this movie, that was early 2000s, I think, and that got 69%. And I'm going to kind of ignore the fact that he's had a lot of horrible movies. I think Glass is going to be alright. I'm guessing 67%. The fact that Split was like tied into Unbreakable was kind of a big shock at the end of that film. Now that he's trying to bring it all together, I'm not sure it's going to work quite as well, but it's still going to be a good movie. Coming out on the 25th of January, it's The Kid Who Would Be King. You may be asking, Tom, why have you, a grown-ass man, put this children's movie on your important movies list? Well, keen viewer, I don't know what this bit is. It's directed by Joe Cornish, who has previously directed a movie called Attack the Block, starring John Boyega and Jodie Whittaker, who are now on to like bigger and better things, but that movie was pretty good, and it got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, so other people thought so as well. And I think this movie is going to be pretty similar. Like, watching the trailer, it kind of looked like a TV movie, kind of thing that they would make on a really cheap budget and then show on like a Saturday morning for kids. But there were some good jokes in there, and Joe Cornish has done some good work before, so if this thing looks like your kind of thing, I think it's going to be pretty good, and I'm predicting 80% for The Kid Who Would Be King. I didn't expect to be saying that, but there you go. It'll be better than that King Arthur movie that came out last year. Last year? 2 years ago? Oh jeez. Coming out on February the 8th, it's the Lego Movie 2, the second part, which is one of my favourite sequel names that I've got on my list, but I've got another good one coming up. It's the second part, because it's like Lego part. The first Lego Movie got 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a really good movie. Like, it's way better than it had any right to be. So I'm hopeful for the sequel. I've marked it down a little bit because it's a sequel, like you kind of run into more problems. I'm predicting 91%. Lord and Miller can make a good film, and the first Lego Movie was great, so I'm hopeful for the second one. On the same day, February 8th, is What Men Want. You know how recently we've had the female Ghostbusters movie, we've had the female Oceans movie. One of those was pretty bad, one of them was pretty good. This is kind of the same thing, except for a movie no one cares about. So What Men Want is a kind of remake of the early 2000s movie What Women Want, starring Mel Gibson. The original movie got 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not a fab one, but some people liked it. It's a Nancy Meyers movie, and she can make like a pretty good rom-com. So I think that carried the first movie. This one is made by someone without a great record. Their last movie was Rock of Ages. Do you remember that musical? That got 42%. I don't think it's great. It might have got a higher score because it's a musical, and musicals are inherently fun, and you can't like hate it too much. They also directed Bedtime Stories, the Adam Sandler movie, which got 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think What Men Want is gonna be bad. I'm predicting 32%. I think I'm being generous. Coming out on the 14th of February, which is Valentine's Day, is Alita Battle Angel. If you've seen the trailer for this, you know that it's the creepiest character you've ever seen. There's a bit of uncanny valley going on there. Like, they're a bit too human, but they're also very weird because the eyes are huge. It's directed by Robert Rodriguez, which is kind of a shock for me because I think in all the promotional stuff I've seen for it, it's been playing up the fact that it's like produced by James Cameron. And in my head I was just like, oh yeah, that's a James Cameron movie. But no, it's Robert Rodriguez. And he is all over the place in terms of making movies. So you'll know him from Spy Kids. It's nothing amazing, but like, it's a decent kids movie. And they got worse as they went on. He also directed the first and second Sin City movies. And the first one was pretty good, and the second one was pretty and he did like Machete and Machete Kills, and that's the same kind of thing. So my theory for Robert Rodriguez predictions is that the first movie in the franchise is pretty good, and then anything after that, it just kind of falls off a cliff. So I'm predicting, cause Alita Battle Angel is the first in the franchise, I'm guessing 66%. It looks a bit of a mess. Robert Rodriguez can make an okay movie. It's the first one, so I think it's gonna be okay. 66%. Coming out on the same day, it's Happy Death Day to You. This is the other really good sequel name. The first movie was quite good. It had an interesting premise, kind of like Groundhog Day, but for solving your own murder. The first one got 71%. I'm predicting the second one's going to get 60%, because I think the first one was kind of carried on the premise, and like, it's got some fun ideas. And I think in the sequel, they probably won't have as much to work with because they've used all the fun ideas in the first movie. Coming out on the 22nd of February, it's How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World. So the How to Train Your Dragon movies are pretty fun. The most consistently good animated movies outside of like Disney and Pixar. So the first one got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's a good movie. The second one got 91. I'll be honest, I'm not that interested in the third one. And it's using one of my least favourite tropes, where they do a girl version of the animal, and they make it like, this is the girl one. The dragon in the How to Train Your Dragon movie is like a black dragon, and it's like, this is the girl one. It's white. It's like the opposite. And I think it's got eyelashes. I might be making that up. So I'm predicting 87%. I think it's going to be fine. They might be pushing it a little bit. Coming out on March the 1st, it is Fighting With My Family. So this is a wrestling movie, which is something I'm like a little bit interested in. When I was a kid, I used to play all the WWE games. But this is like the story of Paige. She's a British wrestler who went off to join the WWE in America. And now she's doing really well, I think. I don't know a whole lot about her, but this is a movie about her. It's got Nick Frost in it. It's got Lena Headey, I think, as her mum. And it's got Dwayne Johnson because, like, he's The Rock. Everyone loves him. Directed by Stephen Merchant, which is not what I expected. He has not had a great track record directing movies. He had one come out called Cemetery Junction. That was 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think Stephen Merchant is a pretty funny guy. I prefer him as an actor to like a director, but I think he can do an okay job. I'm predicting this is going to get 65%. It's going to be fine. You'll like it if you like wrestling, I guess. On the 8th of March is Captain Marvel. So Marvel has been doing really well recently. You make a Marvel movie, everyone's going to go see it because we got to know what's going on. Everyone who saw Infinity War has to go see Infinity War 2, which has a name now actually, it's called Endgame. Marvel's got you. Like, you've seen the first one, you've got to see the second one now. And if you've got to see the second one, you've got to see Captain Marvel, because that's the one that leads into this one. So everyone's going to go see this movie anyway. It's directed by Anna Boden. She's not really done anything like this before. She mostly does like kind of drama movies, but she's done a pretty good job before. She did a movie called Sugar, which got 92%. I think she's going to do a decent job, and like she'll have the help of like all the Marvel production team or whatever to like do all the action stuff. So I think it's going to turn out pretty well. Brie Larson can give a good performance. It's going to be a fun time. I'm guessing 88%. Coming out on the 15th of March, it's Us, the new Jordan Peele movie. And it's going to be great. Get Out was amazing. This one's going to be really good as well. I'm guessing 95%. Just like, it's got a really good cast. Jordan Peele directing, and he did such a good job with Get Out. It's another horror movie. It's going to be great. Just believe it. Coming out on the 29th of March, it's Dumbo, directed by Tim Burton. So Tim Burton's a director who previously did a lot of good work, but recently I've not really been into what he's been doing. So his last couple of movies were like Miss Peregrine's Home for Extraordinary Kids, or whatever that movie was called. And like, I think it was fine. On Rotten Tomatoes it got 64%, but I don't think it's anything amazing. So like, I think Dumbo's gonna be fine. Tim Burton's kind of been like riding on just his aesthetic for a long time, and the fact that he can just get Johnny Depp in his movie. But the Johnny Depp powers have worn off because everyone hates him now, including me. I'm not excited about Dumbo, but like, if you are, that's completely fine and I understand it. I'm guessing 67%. It's going to be an enjoyable film, but like, just watch the original Dumbo. That movie probably still holds up. Coming out at the start of April, on the 5th, it's Shazam, the latest DC movie. It's maybe a DC movie that I don't dislike. I mean, DC have been doing alright recently. Like, Wonder Woman was great, then they had Justice League, which was at least better than the other stuff they've been doing. So they're kind of pulling it back. Like, Aquaman came out, and people have been like pretty lukewarm on Aquaman, but like, they didn't hate it. People are quite into it. I think Shazam's going to be pretty good. So Aquaman got 65% Rotten Tomatoes. Shazam is directed by David F. Sandberg. He's previously directed like horror movies. He did Lights Out and Annabelle Creation. I don't know why they've chose him to do this. I guess it's because of like him previously working with James Wan, like in the Conjuring universe, and James Wan is like now in charge of the DC universe. I think this movie is going to be pretty good. Like, the trailer looked like fun. It's going to be silly, and I prefer a silly movie to a serious one, especially when it comes to superheroes. So I'm guessing 72% for Shazam. Gonna be alright. Coming out on April the 5th, it's Pet Sematary. It came out a couple of years ago, and it did really well. And now everyone's like, what other Stephen King books have we got? So the directors of this movie have previously worked on Starry Eyes, which I've heard a lot of good things about. That got 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. They also did Holidays, which I think was the like anthology horror movie. So it was like a different horror movie for each of the holidays throughout the year, and that got 54%. Like, I don't think that was received as well. This is like a remake. Like, I think they've already made a movie of this, and I don't know. I don't think it's going to be great. I'm guessing 57%, but this is one of the ones where I'm prepared to be wrong on it. Like, I can easily see this being a lot better than I've guessed it, or even a lot worse. I literally had no idea for this one. And finally, coming out on April 5th as well, it's Farmageddon. Shaun the Sheep 2, Farmageddon. Just a fantastic name, to be honest. If you know me, you know that I love stop motion movies, I love Aardman. I think everything they do is pretty great, so I think it's going to be good. First one got 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a good film, and they pretty much do the whole thing without having any characters speak. It's very impressive. And then Aardman's last movie was Early Man, which came out last year. That got 81%. Kind of missing some of the like humour and charm Aardman movies usually have, but I think it's still a good film. I'm guessing Shaun the Sheep 2, Farmageddon, is going to get 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. If you like stop motion, if you like the other Aardman movies, you'll probably like this. That's it. Those are the movies coming out in the next 3 months. If you disagree at all, feel free to let me know, because like, I am just guessing here, and I might have been harsh on a movie you're looking forward to. Don't worry about calling me out. Like, I'd like to hear your opinion. I'll put in the comments all my predictions, so it's easy to call me out on them later when I obviously get them all wrong. You know, when What Men Want turns out to be like an Oscar-winning movie. Shaun the Sheep 2 is just garbage. See you in 3 months, I guess, when we have more movies to say if they're good or not. Goodbye.